I'm about to take you behind the scenes of the $100 million conference tour. Now, this was a hybrid conference, meaning we had in-person and virtual guests. Now, I believe this is the way of the future when it comes to conferences because it allows you to make more revenue and it allows people to attend virtually, something they have grown accustomed to doing over the last few years. So I'm going to share with you the equipment that I've used, the setup, and the one thing that I would have changed to make this experience even better for the live stream attendees and bring in more revenue for the conference. Hey, welcome to the channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Monte Weaver and I help you navigate this world of digital, tech, and social media. If you're like me and you like behind the scenes technical videos, things that show off equipment setups, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and I'm going to dive right into this video and walk you through how we pulled off the $100 million tour in the DC location. For this particular conference, I was contacted just a couple weeks prior, so there were already certain things in place that we couldn't change or alter. So I'll get to that at the end of the video. But for context, knowing what I knew about this venue, I was able to bring all my equipment with me and do the setup and do this by myself. Now, typically for larger scale events, I would have another person, but you can definitely pull off a live streaming event if you have limited personnel or the size of the event allows you to do so. So this particular event was held in a hotel conference room in the DC, Maryland area. The conference room was set up for about 50 in-person guests along with vendors. So when it comes to my setup, I needed a location to first set up, which was in the back of the conference room. I brought my own table and all of my own equipment based on the needs given to me prior to this event. So let's get started by the setup of all the equipment. Now, everything that I talk about in this video, I will link below this video because I know you guys are going to ask in advance. Starting off with my Pelican case that carries all my equipment, my cameras, my cables, my controllers. I pack it full of gear. So once I set up my table, I actually brought out my cameras, my PTZ optics cameras, which I use 2 of those, along with my Huddlecam controller. So the Huddlecam controller allows me to have a 2-camera setup and control both of the cameras with the joystick. I definitely like to program my cameras ahead of time, especially if I have a good idea of how the speakers are going to move or where the potential panel guests will be. So along with my Huddlecam controller, I have them plugged into one of my PTZ optics cameras and then daisy chained to the other PTZ camera. One of the PTZ cameras is a 12x SDI and my other PTZ camera is a 20x USB camera. So I love taking the ATEM Mini Extreme to events because it allows me to have multiple inputs at the same time. So using the ATEM Mini Extreme, I connected both of the PTZ optics cameras via HDMI. I also was able to bring in my microphone, which I use the Rode Wireless Go for the speaker in this case, and connect that as well. And as you can see, I have it inside of a pretty cool stand, which is the Xstreambay stand. And I'll make sure that I link to the Xstreambay stand because it allows for the heat to easily disperse from the ATEM, because this was a long live stream event. We actually went about 6 to 7 hours. So I'm using a lot of equipment for a long time. Now, along with the ATEM Mini Extreme, what I like to do as well is make sure that I know which buttons are programmed to what. So I take a lot of notes ahead of time to know when I have camera 1 or camera 2 or any other buttons configured for my ATEM along with my Huddlecam controller. Now, as I mentioned, I had my Rode Wireless Go 2 system connected to my ATEM. So this allowed me to bring in audio from one of the Rode microphones that I had on the podium, along with audio from one of the microphones that I placed on the table for the panel. This was the main audio source for the live stream attendees to hear. The in-person attendees were listening to the microphone setup and audio from the in-house hotel. Now, because I knew people were going to go back and forth to the podium, I actually hid one of my Rode Wireless Go's behind the podium so that we could pick up that audio, and gave the other one to the speaker so she could wear it throughout the remainder of the conference. So shout out to Rode and their Wireless Go system. It made it super easy to capture in all of the audio for the entire event. Now, I did have to charge up my Rode Wireless Go's during the lunch break because I did want to make sure that we did not have any issues with the battery dying. So because the Rode Wireless Go's get about 6 hours of charge and usage out of them, this was a best practice to make sure that I actually charge those up during the lunch break. Another component that I use to monitor everything are my headphones. So the headphones allow me to make sure that I'm getting in all the audio, everything is sounding clear and crisp, and I have those plugged into the headphone jack of the ATEM Mini as well. So making sure that audio levels are good are super important, because your audience will let you know if things are too loud or they can't hear. Now, sitting on top of my ATEM device on top of my Xstreambay console is a monitor. This is a 13-inch monitor that I use to manage the program and the preview and all the other inputs for a live stream broadcast. So being able to set this just inside of the stand makes it easy and portable, and having a 13-inch monitor just for focusing on the live stream allowed me to easily monitor both of my cameras because I'm controlling them on a joystick. So once I have the good position, the good camera angle that I want, I can easily switch on the ATEM to that cutaway shot. So in order to run the entire event, I needed to bring my laptop, which is my powerhouse gaming laptop that I typically use for these sort of events. Now, this particular event was set up for Zoom, which I'm not a big fan of for running conferences because it doesn't really give the attendees the best overall experience. So this is that one thing that I mentioned earlier in the video that I would have personally changed if I knew about this event ahead of time. I would have recommended a platform like ViewStub. Now, I'm going to link to ViewStub because I'm a big fan of their platform, because they built it for hybrid events so that you can take in-person ticket sales, and you can also have virtual ticket sales, sponsorships, chats. It does a lot. So get started with ViewStub. You can create a free account with the link in the description of this video. Now, attached to my laptop, I also brought a small Feelworld Monitor. Now, this monitor was going to allow me to maintain a visual eye on the Zoom conference because people were engaging in the chat. The chat was lit. And then with my main computer monitor, I could navigate between the screens and making sure that I could get to all the websites that I needed to go to and pull up some general information. So having a multi-screen setup for your live stream production allows you to bounce between different tasks very easily and still keep an eye on everything that's going on. Now, one of the things that sometimes gets overlooked is power. So what I now do is bring my own power strip to plug in everything. My ATEM, my monitor, my computer, anything that needs power, I want to make sure that I have ample power sitting right beside me. So I connected my own power strip and even had to charge up someone's cell phone because they saw that I had enough juice right beside me. So if you're running live stream events or you're looking to host live stream events, make sure that you have plenty of power for all the equipment that it does take to pull off an event. Now, if you have any questions about this particular setup, leave me a comment below. I would definitely love to help you guys out and share more insight to how I do live stream events. And stay tuned for the next videos as I'm doing more setups and installations and gonna walk you through those as well. So make sure you click on the other videos here on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.